I have a family history of prostate cancer, but I never knew it. I come from one of these African families where it's not the culture or the tradition to go asking your parents what their ailments are. And it's also not the culture and tradition of parents to share with you what they're going through. And I think even in some places, it's just the whole machismo experience. Oh, it's a man thing. You don't talk about it. Yes, you do.
I think in everyday life, as human beings, we're making decisions for ourselves and our families. And one of the blessings of living in a country like ours is the empowerment of the individual to make those decisions. When you have a diagnosis of prostate cancer, or when you're at an increased risk of having prostate cancer, I think seeing a doctor or a team of doctors only empowers you even more to make the best decisions for yourself. And it's not one size fits all, but it's important to get the information from the experts so that then you, just like you do in your normal life, are able to advocate for your health and for your family's health.
Of course, routine medical exam, and my physician calls and says, your PSA is looked a little funny. Your numbers are very unusual from where you were last year to this year. So of course I do some MRIs. The next thing is, yes, you have prostate cancer, and therefore, and I begin my journey. And of course my reality shifts, that this thing I know that exists for people has included me. So I'm now one of these inductees into this not so pleasant Hall of Fame.
If we find a patient who has prostate cancer, the first thing we're going to try to do is figure out if it's limited to the prostate. And if it appears to be limited to the prostate through X-ray imaging with things like CAT scans, ultrasound, MRI, we look at the biopsy. The urologist has passed a needle up through the rectum into the prostate and got pieces of the prostate and sends it to a pathologist. And the pathologist looks at the biopsies, and the pathologist tries to assess how angry the tumor is. And we call that the Gleason score, or Gleason grade score. And the higher the Gleason score, the more aggressive the tumor is. In prostate cancer, there are some good prostate cancers that we need to watch, and then there are some more aggressive prostate cancers that we need to treat. And much of our work today is dealing with figuring out the ones that need to be watched and the ones that need to be treated, and finding better treatments for the ones that need to be treated.
Choosing surgery as the way to go wasn't difficult for me. I had enough information. Now, the big thing there is the ED. So I knew that was going to come. And of course, it came. But I didn't worry about it. My wife and I had been part of the class, and when I started making jokes about it, I said, well, I'm really not a bad guy, but if I were, this is one time you would have to worry about me. Because you knew exactly where I was and what I could do or not do. And I found it really funny.
Some of the stigma, I think, that are tied into prostate cancer are immediately connected for some men to thinking about potential sexual dysfunction or urinary incontinence. And those alone may be difficult conversations to have, but they are important ones to share with a physician, to share with family members, other men in the family. You share an experience, then potentially you reduce that sense of fear or stigma related to those areas of your physical well-being in your life for someone else. So they are, just like many conversations tied to your health, they can be a little bit unsettling, but the alternative is that we would be able to screen if that's the right decision for you and your physician have come to that decision, or potentially find a diagnosis earlier, which is when a cancer is most treatable.
At every point in time, I felt like I was in charge of this. I was on the driver's seat. People spoke to you respectfully. They treated me well. That's really all I can say. I was treated very, very well. Everybody addressed me in a respectable manner. Whatever information I wanted, I got. And it may not mean too much for a lot of people, but for me, that's really the prime of the expense. It's really where the rubber meets the road.